This is Addie D. Hilster, and I'm at Spiral Path Yoga Center. And today we're going to be doing a practice that's a lower body warm-up followed by Moon Salutations, which are kind of an alternative to the Sun Salutation, and they also emphasize a little bit more of movements in the lower body. And we'll end this practice with some time doing a seated meditation. So hopefully these lower body movements will bring awareness and some good mobility to the lower body to assist you with your sitting practice. So let's jump right in and get started. And we'll come onto the back in knees to chest pose. So just coming all the way down to the floor. You could rest your head on a blanket if you like. I have kind of a bun support as a pillow right now. And we'll bring the knees up, knees to chest, or you could think of this as an upward facing child's pose in a way. It's a similar shape to that. But just taking a few breaths in a relaxed way here on the back with the knees drawn in pretty close. You could be holding around the knees or behind the knees, whichever you prefer. But breathing into the lower body, breathing into the low back. Just feeling into whatever sensations are here, noticing how clear this part of the body is in your awareness right now or not. And let's keep the right knee in and stretch the left leg down the mat. So lengthening it out. So scooting back a little since my block down there, my yoga block is in the way. But we're reaching out through this left leg. Breathing down the length of that leg. And then let's swap sides and bring the left knee in, stretch out with the right leg, just lengthen out through that limb. Take a breath. And then switch sides again and stretch out through that left leg. And let's start to move this left ankle. So we'll do a little bit of pointing and flexing. Just pointing the left ankle, curling the toes down, and then flexing, pulling the toes up towards the ceiling. Make a few of those movements. Just keeping your breath steady. Curl the toes down when you're pointing. You can spread the toes as you pull the foot up. And then let's swap sides again. Reach out with the right leg. Then start to point and flex on that right side. So moving the foot. Feeling those sensations of contraction, of pulling, of contact with the floor. And then switch sides again, and this time on the left ankle, let's circle. So taking that joint all the way around a full circle. And noticing if your right foot is also wanting to move along with the left. Which is okay. However, were you aware that that was happening? And then reverse your circle on the left ankle. And sometimes it's good to be specific about what we're moving and to move with intention. And let's switch sides, same thing. So left knee is pulling in, right leg is stretching out, and we'll start to circle the right ankle, just mobilizing those lowest joints down in the foot and the ankle, lower body. Reverse your circle and notice if there are some particular angles of that ankle circle that are tougher to get to. Beautiful. Switch sides again. And let's work with this right hip a little bit. So let go with your hands if possible and take that right leg out to the right and then downward and then across the body and then up. So now you're making a full hip circle and doing it with your muscles actively engaged in the hip and in the core to make that happen. The circle can be whatever size works for you. It doesn't have to be as large as it would be with the support of your hands. But we're consciously moving with some muscle engagement. And let's reverse the direction on that hip circle a couple times the other way. Then when you bring this knee back to center, let's take the hands behind the thigh and let the leg come a little more forward to give some space. And then next time you inhale, bring your foot up towards the ceiling. So you're straightening the knee and flex the foot. And then exhale, bend the knee coming out of that stretch. So inhale, bring the foot up and flex. Exhale, bend the knee, come back down. So we're coming in and out of a Supta Padangusthasana, a stretch for the back of the leg. Kind of flirting with those sensations in the hamstrings and calf. Beautiful. Next time you bring that leg up, stay there, and then try an ankle circle here. A few circles around and notice the new sensations that probably will arise in the shins or side of the leg or calf. And do a few the opposite direction as well. Beautiful. And let's release that leg and switch sides. So bringing the left knee into the chest. Let's do our circles with this hip joint. So we'll take the leg out wide to the left and then downward and then up across the body and around. We're trying to keep the pelvis pretty stable and still as we do this so that it's really like the hip joint is the focus of the movement. And you should feel some strength, some muscles engaging as you do this in your abdomen and your hip itself. Reverse directions. Let's do a few that way. You have your hands on the floor or your hands on the pelvis to help you be aware of what the pelvis is doing. Last circle. Coming back up, let's give a little support behind the thigh. Let the leg go more forward to give you some space for this hamstring stretch part. And we'll inhale and bring the leg up so the knee is straight. Flex the foot, feel the calf. Bend the knee, coming back down. So let's inhale, lift up. Exhale, bend the knee coming out of that stretch. And you might also feel underneath your fingers the movement of those hamstring muscles as they lengthen and engage and shorten and change. Beautiful. Next time we bring the foot up, let's stay there and try a few ankle circles. Moving the ankle joint as best you can around a full circle and not really moving the whole leg in and out with that, but just focusing on the ankle. And reverse directions a few times. Being curious about any new sensations that this seems to stimulate. Beautiful. Let's bring it back down and stretch the legs out for a moment. Just take a few breaths. Rest. Feel. Breathe. So we'll bring the legs up and we'll roll to the side. So we'll come over to hands and knees. I do have a few props with me over here, which are pretty much optional, but the blanket you might use later on as a support for your seated meditation, and right now you might want to use it as a little bit of cushioning under the knees as we come into tabletop. So we're going to bring the knees under the hips and the wrists under the shoulders, and let's do just about 3 or 4 rounds of our familiar cat-cow pose as we know and love it. And we'll inhale and let the belly move towards the floor as the tailbone and the chest lift. And then we'll exhale and let the spine round towards the ceiling as the head and the tail drop. So inhaling, opening, arching. Exhaling, pulling back up and rounding. Let's do 2 more like that. Just feeling into the spine and all the accompanying signals you're getting in the torso, in the back. And coming to tabletop, let's take a little variation on this cat-cow. And for this one, we'll take the left leg out wide to the side and turn the foot so that it's pretty much flat on the floor. Hopefully you can see that on the video. I'll scoot over just in case that helps. But so I've got this left foot flat and I'm stable here. And we're going to keep that and move the spine like before in cat-cow. So we'll inhale, letting the belly drop, tailbone and chest lift, and then exhale, rounding into cat. So inhaling, coming into that arch of cow pose. Exhaling that rounded cat back. And what is it like with this leg stretched out to the side, and how do you need to accommodate those sensations in the inner thigh when you move your spine now? So last one. Coming back to center. So I'll turn this way so you can see what I'm doing with the leg on the right side. I'm taking the leg out all the way to the side. Now we're on the right leg extending out, and I've got the foot turned so that I've got some flat contact and support there. On the left leg, it can help on this bent knee side to press the shin down so that you feel more solid through the 3 limbs that are in your usual tabletop position. Okay, so once you're set with that, let's move the spine in our cat-cow pattern again. So we'll inhale and open the front body and lift the chest, coming into cow. And then exhale and round, lifting up into cat. So moving on your own, find that breath rhythm that wants to move at a certain pace right now. Beautiful. Let's finish this one and one more round after that. And then let's come back to neutral tabletop. And we'll do a different movement for the leg and hip from this all fours position here. So the first thing that I want to do is try to take my left heel and lift it up towards my seat. So I've done kind of like a hamstring curl, and I can feel that contracting in the back of my leg. I'm going to try to keep that closeness distance between the heel and the hamstring back here, but I'm going to lift the knee and curl the knee up towards my chest. I'm tucking my head down a little, so it's a bit of a cat back. And then I'm going to come back to neutral spine and bring that leg up behind me. And I'm not really arching the spine too much here, but I'm trying to lift my heel towards my seat. I can really feel that in the back of the leg. Okay, so moving with the breath, this can be the exhale as you come into the cat back and curl the knee up towards your nose. And then the inhale as you take the leg back into extension, not really arching the spine so much, more of a tabletop spine, but trying to really lift the leg back and the heel back. So let's do a few like that. Try to keep the heel close to your seat. Work the back of the leg. This is a really, really good place to develop some strength. And it's a lot more challenging than it looks. Let's finish this one and then one more. Starting to feel warm. And bring the knee down. Let's take a little child's pose in between those two sides. So you can have the knees at a comfortable distance. Take your hips back towards the heels. Bring the forehead down. Let yourself rest. If your forehead doesn't automatically reach the ground here, you can pile up your wrists underneath your forehead and give yourself a little bit more support. Always an option. Beautiful. Let's come back up and let's work with the right leg on those kind of curling movements into flexion and extension of the hip. Okay, so first part is to take the right heel and try to curl it up, lift it up towards your seat or towards your hamstring behind you. You can feel the calf and the hamstring working in the back of the leg. So we're going to try to maintain that as if we were holding something there, like if I were to take a block and try to hold it there behind me like that. You can do that if you're having a hard time finding the feeling of this. Okay, so bringing that foot up behind you, take the knee and round the back and come forward to cat back, and then find neutral spine as you take the leg up behind you and try to touch your heel to your seat. You probably won't really touch, but that's your intention. And bring the knee forward, that's your exhale. Take the leg up behind you on your inhale. Do the best you can with this, moving with a lot of conscious intention, some strength, some detail. Beautiful. Let's finish the one we're on and then do one more for good measure. Not easy. Okay, woo, bring the knee down. Nice. So we'll do a little calf stretch from here. You can do this with straight arms as they are right now. It's kind of plank arms or tabletop arms. Or if you want to give your wrists a little break, it's nice to bring blocks in here and place the forearms down on the blocks. And then the palms can come out in front of you and they can touch sort of like that Anjali Mudra Namaste gesture. So I've got my forearms firm on the blocks and I'm lifting my chest up away from the ground so it's not sagging in the shoulders, but almost like a forearm plank. Then I'm going to take my left foot back behind me with the toes tucked under. And as we exhale, we'll rock back, feeling into that calf stretch in the lower leg. And then rock forward, moving through a little bend in the toes and the foot. So just as simple as rocking to the back of the mat and then rocking towards the top of the mat. Moving with your breath. So do this in a way that feels enjoyable. It feels maybe like relief after that last movement we did. your breath. One more. And then when you're ready, bring the left knee down and we'll switch sides. Reset in the upper body if needed. Bring some awareness there so you're stable in those shoulders. Take the right foot back. Also be aware of what you're doing with your head and your neck. It's really common to kind of lose track of that and to just let the head hang here, but let's see if we can keep the neck aligned with the spine. So we've got some kind of core support and awareness through the center of the body. As you exhale, rock back, stretch into that right calf. As you inhale, rock forward, coming into the toes. Kind of rolling over the toes. Moving back and forth. So good to work with and pay attention to our feet. They're often like these unsung heroes of the body. Steady movement, steady breath, a few more rounds. Beautiful. Bring the knee back down and let's come back up, and we can move the blocks and blankets out of the way for right now, and we'll do a little hip rotational movement that's very strengthening for the hips and kind of interesting to play with. So we're going to do this from Baddha Konasana, which is our kind of butterfly shape of the legs. And normally when we're sitting on the floor, I recommend sitting on blankets to help you find this lift of the spine and this neutral low back and pelvis. But the blanket might get in your way a little bit here. So what I would suggest instead, if you're finding yourself kind of rounding back, is just to lean back onto the hands and give yourself support there. Okay, so we've got the feet out in front of us. And we're going to start to move the legs in internal and external rotation. Right now they're already in external rotation. That's what that position is called for the hip joint. And then taking my right leg, I'm going to lift it up, and then I'm going to turn it and try to put the inside of my foot down and the inside of my knee towards the floor. So now that hip's in internal rotation. What does that feel like? And then let's bring it up and put it back into Baddha Konasana. And then switching sides, left foot lifts, rotates, we put it back down, and then we come back to our external butterfly shape. So we're gonna speed that up a little bit and do the best you can with this, trying to find the strength in it. Don't force anything, particularly if this internal rotation position is not familiar to you. We don't do as much of that in yoga, but it's really important to balance the hips. And you might be feeling hip flexors working, core working, hip rotators working. And if this is going fairly easily, walk yourself up a little higher, and you're gonna have a little more work to do to lift and rotate the legs. And if you're practicing this, if you've been doing it a while and it's getting pretty fluid, you can lift your hands off the ground entirely, bring them up to Anjali Mudra. And see if you can do this sitting upright, just using your lower body strength to turn the legs in and out. I'm feeling warmth in the belly, interestingly enough. Feeling heart rate picking up. And for sure feeling a lot of sensations in the hips and legs. Okay, let's do a last one on each side. Wow, and then come back to that butterfly for a moment. Lift up tall, breathe out, then stretch the legs forward into staff and just kind of shake the legs out. Okay, let's come back over to hands and knees and take the knees a little bit back behind the hips, tuck the toes, make space between the fingers and lift up, take your hips back to downward facing dog. So take a good few breaths here. Maybe rocking side to side, maybe bending one knee and then the other. We'll walk the feet up, coming to Uttanasana, or standing forward fold. And then from there, inhale, take the arms out to the side and hinge up to standing, reach the arms up. Exhale, bring the palms together down the center. Take a few breaths here in this standing mountain pose. So feeling your way into that upright position. Noticing your energy level, maybe your heartbeat, feeling of the feet on the ground or the touch of the palms. What sensations are evident to you right now? And if you release the hands, we'll get ready to do our Moon Salutations. So like the Sun Salutation, the Moon Salutation is a sequence where we flow from one pose to another with continuity and linked by the breath. But it doesn't have plank, it doesn't have chaturanga, it's kind of more focused on the lower body, although it really is a full body movement. So probably the best way to explain is to do it together. We'll come to standing towards the left end of the mat, all the way towards the end. And actually, if you're across from me, that might look like the right end of the mat. So I'll try to mirror you and do those directions. So stand with about a foot between you and that end of the mat, going to the right side of the mat. And we're doing that so that we can have space to travel over here towards the left as we go. So start in mountain pose and find your footing there, find your stability. Maybe picturing those cycles, those phases of the moon, the crescent moon, the full moon, everything in between. And then as you inhale, reach the arms up like you're drawing the full moon, and then join the hands together, and the finger, index finger, reaches up towards the sky. Take in a breath, and then exhale and side bend towards your left, like the crescent moon shape. And then inhale, center, and exhale, side bend towards your right. Inhale, center. Exhale, step your foot out wide to come into goddess pose, so the feet can turn out a little, the knees bend, the elbows are bent. Strong legs. We'll take a couple of breaths. It's earthy goddess pose. And then inhale, straighten the arms and legs, reach out. This is called five-pointed star. So quite a radiant feeling pose. Okay, then turn your right foot in, turn your left leg out, and we're gonna slide down into triangle. So the hips are going out to the side body staying long. This left hand is gliding down the shin. We'll reach the right arm up towards the ceiling. Take an inhale, and then on the exhale, turn your chest towards the front leg, your left leg. Turn your right leg in a little bit, and we're hinging down into pyramid pose. You could grab your blocks here to be next to the foot, or if your hands can reach, that's good too. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, let's bend this front knee and take your right leg a little further back. So now you're in a forward-facing lunge. So I just scooted that foot back. Beautiful. On an exhale, take the left hand inside of the left foot and pivot yourself around to a side lunge. So you're still bent on the left leg and feeling some inner thigh stretch on that right side. So hands are on the ground. Beautiful. And then as you exhale, take your right foot, step it in some, and dip the hips down to your version of malasana, which is the squat. So you may be down here, you may be more up here, depending on how squat goes for you and your hips and knees. And this is kind of like the midpoint of the sequence. So to do the other side, we actually do it backwards. So we kind of rewind back to the beginning from there. Okay, so take your hands down in front of you. Lift your hips up. Take your left leg out wide. So now you're in your side lunge. Take a couple of breaths there. Then on an exhale, start to pivot around and walk forward towards the right leg in a forward-facing lunge. Take a couple of breaths here. On an exhale, let's bring the back foot forward a little bit and straighten into the front leg as you elongate the spine in your pyramid pose. And then to come up into triangle, I like to bend the front knee a little bit to be a little more strong in my base and lift up the torso some and then peel the torso open towards the ceiling, and then I can straighten into that front leg, which is the right leg right now. Long through the side body in Trikonasana. And then inhale, coming up to 5-pointed star, the feet turn out, the arms radiate out towards the sky. Exhale, bend the knees and arms, coming into goddess pose. One more breath there. And then on an exhale, step up to mountain with the fingers joined up above you if possible. If not, hands can be apart. Reaching up. On an exhale, tilt to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, crescent moon tilt to the right. Inhale, center. And then exhale, bring the arms down, drawing the shape of the full moon. And then palms come together at the heart. Take a couple of breaths, see how you feel. So that was one round of the Moon Salutation. Let's do it once more together. So coming back to mountain towards the end of your mat, that right end of the mat. With an inhale, we'll reach the arms up, drawing the full moon in the sky. And then join the hands together, index fingers reach up. Exhale, crescent moon towards the left, opening those side ribs, strong feet. Inhale, center. Exhale, crescent moon to the opposite side, lengthening over. Inhale, up center. Exhale, step out into goddess pose. So the knees are quite bent, the feet can turn out, elbows are bent like a cactus. Strong breath. And then inhale, straighten the limbs, 5-pointed star. On the exhale, turn the right foot in, the left foot out, start to slide down into triangle, rolling the ribs towards the ceiling, taking a breath. And then exhale, turn the chest towards the front leg. So you could bring in your blocks here next to the foot. The back foot turns forward quite a bit to help you with your pelvis in your pyramid pose. And then scooting the right foot back a little bit, we can come down to our forward-facing lunge. If you like, you can take the back knee to the ground and inhale, lift the chest up. And then exhale, bring the hands back down with the knee. Take the left hand to the inside of the left foot, and let's walk it around to our side lunge. The feet pivot, hands move. Take an in-breath there. And then exhale, step the right foot in to come into your squat, your malasana as it is at the moment. You could also take one of these blocks and give yourself a little support underneath. Makes squat a lot easier if you've got struggles in the hips and knees. Okay, coming around to the second side, let's lift the hips up, step the left foot out wide. Now we're in our side lunge again. Okay, beautiful. As you exhale, start to walk the hands around and pivot the feet to your forward-facing lunge. And here you might take that back knee down to the ground and inhale and lift the belly and chest away from the front thigh to lift. And then exhale, take the hands down. Let's lift the back knee, step the foot up a little bit, take your hips back, pyramid, long spine. And then pivot that left foot a little bit, bend the right knee, lift up and peel open into triangle here. Front leg can come towards straight. We're trying to find length on both sides of the body. And then let's inhale up, turn the feet out, 5-pointed star, radiant, sparkling. And then exhale, bend the knees in that strong, grounded goddess pose. Elbows are bent too. Beautiful. Exhale, step the left foot up to mountain. I'm just gonna move my block there. And reach the arms up overhead. That's an in-breath. And on an exhale, tilt towards your left side, crescent moon. Inhale, center. Exhale to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, circle the arms down through that full moon shape. And bring the palms together at the heart. Steady breath here. Okay, let's release this and come down to a seated posture. So we've warmed up the lower body quite a bit. Hips, knees, all the joints, ankles. And we'll find a seated posture that works. So it might be kneeling for you, or it might be sitting cross-legged. And today I'm piling up a couple of blankets to give me some height to sit on. One is always invited to sit on a chair or to use whatever supports make the meditation doable for you. So let's find this posture of stability and ease. Perhaps letting the eyes close, or if the eyes prefer to stay open, just keep the gaze soft, not really looking around. Feeling sensations in the body, what's here right now. Maybe a little bit of warmth. Maybe the movement of the breath is clear. Maybe it's starting to slow down. Let your attention move down towards your foundation in the pose, where your sitting bones are touching your cushion or the ground. Feeling that firm and steady contact. muscles of the legs and hips relax around that. And then feeling the uplift of the spine out of this stable foundation in the low body. The vertebral joints stacking on one another, providing structure to the body. Relying on this stable structure in your seated posture, let yourself relax anything that's extra. Any effort that isn't needed right now. Finding the movement of the breath somewhere in the body. Where is it that you can sense the moving, changing breath? Perhaps in the belly or the chest. Maybe the throat or the nostrils. Anywhere that you can clearly sense the breath can be your anchor point. Bringing attention there and simply knowing when the body is breathing in and knowing when the body is breathing out. And we know this through these changing felt sensations. This simple but vibrant flow of experience. Breathing in, breathing out. It happens without us even making it happen. When you notice your attention going elsewhere, in a friendly way, just bring yourself back, kindling this curiosity about the experience of the breath as it is right now. Just this. This breath is enough. Noticing where your attention is right now. Knowing that you can always come back to the present moment through this breath. This breath. And then when you're ready, you can go ahead and open your eyes again. Noticing, seeing once again, seeing the room appear around you. Taking in a full breath and releasing that breath out. Let's bring the palms together at the heart. Thank you so much for your presence and your practice today. Namaste.